Hi everyone, I'm Dana Farber, Director of UX at Kaltura, and it's great to be here. Today I would like to explore how we can metaphorically jump into the future and drive inspiration to help us reimagine today's products. Okay, sorry. So let me start with a short intro about Kaltura. Kaltura is a B2B2C company offering video content management for enterprise, education, and media markets. Video content management is actually a broad term, and in our case, it refers to both backend and user-facing products as well. So backend really includes, among other things, rich media ingestion, transcoding, editing, metadata management, monetization, analytics, user engagement, and much more. So try to think about it as a platform for video, where we supply the building blocks and our customers build their own experience on top of that. Okay, but where I do most of my work is the product department, okay, where we are making user-facing products for video authoring, video creation, and interactive video experiences and more. So among the products that we have, I wanted to focus today on one that represents the heart of any video experience, which is our video player. Okay? So you've all seen a video before. It has a few simple characteristics, right? It's a box with a video and play, pause button, and a scrubber, and so on. So since Kaltura was founded in 2006, so we're actually celebrating our 9th birthday this week, we grew very quickly. And with this accelerated growth, new features were being developed and implemented rapidly. So our video player, among other products, started to grow really fast. Another thing that makes Kaltura interesting is that we're committed to supply a modular, customizable experience for our customers. So this means that each customer can configure and change our products the way they see fit. In this case, they can even choose which plugins they want to add to the video player and decide on locations, colors, and much more. So you can imagine the user experience challenge that we're facing. In order to really anticipate these possible configurations all living together at once on our video player, we wanted to simulate how they, in fact, live together. And we crafted this player of everything, we call it. And now it comes. So you're supposed to freak out. This is a video. It's buried somewhere in the middle. And you can see it. There's a woman lecturing and slide deck right next to her, and many, many, many features on this one tiny player. So there's so much functionality, but how can users begin to understand this? Okay, and it has to fit on a mobile, right? So it became very evident that this wasn't just a UI question, it was a question of user experience, and how can the bountiful world of possibilities our technology deliver can both be there to enhance the video experience, but not bog it down. So that was the challenge we were facing. So we started to think what was causing this clutter, basically. So there was design, of course, different icons from different sets and periods of time. But then there was the context. Plugins were scattered, basically all over the video, with noticeable disregard to their context. So our users will have a hard time finding the right functionality quickly. The other thing we had to consider is configurability. Like I mentioned before, our customers can change and basically create any order of plugin layout they wish. So it's not always favorable in terms of user experience. So how can we deliver the flexibility but support good user experience? The other thing we identified was hierarchy, or the lack of hierarchy, where everything is laid out at once in one level with no apparent order of conduct. And the last thing, scalability. So we're running out of space here, as you might have seen. OK, so we started the process of revamping the video player. But the first thing we actually did, we wanted to separate mobile from web because certain plugins work better on mobile and on web and vice versa. So once we established which plugin can technically work on which device, we headed on to tackle the issues causing the clutter. OK, so the first one was irregular design, as I mentioned. And you have to understand that some of these plugins are legacy. So they were built way before, and some were new, and different designers, different functionalities. So actually crafting this player was also a good internal process to show the company how everything looks together and promote this idea that we need to change this player, okay, to fit today's standards. So the first thing we did, we took all these plugins that you saw and broke them down into visual elements. So we counted 30 visual elements on one player. Yeah. So we handed this for redesign. So this way we'll have the designer conform or create this new language for the video player that will fit mobile and web as well, be consistent. And then we approached the other issues at hand. So putting into context and keeping it customizable was the next task. So we took on the different plugins. Let's say the navigation menu on the left. I know I haven't explained this much because it's really cumbersome, right? So the navigation menu on the left here is serving navigation, orientation, search functionalities, discoverability functions. And somewhat, I think the playlist at the other side is doing some of these things as well, but they're separated. On the bottom bar, you see many different icons, and those are from different worlds. Some controlling video quality, some audio quality, some about social, like sharing. So all these different types of plugin were just sitting next to each other without context. So we started this fun analyzing process where we try to think about these plugins and see which ones belong to each other contextually. And we wanted to group them. That was our first step, trying to group these into containers. So that could both alleviate some of the visual burden, but it could also be promoting good usability for our users. So we tested and see what belonged together, what should stay outside of these containers. And then we need to keep things configurable. So we crafted this logic or this automated logic. So when users come and say, I want this plugin, and this plugin, our technology will know exactly where to distribute each of those respectively without the user having to do anything. So we're giving them the flexibility, but we're wrapping it with our concept of user experience. So kind of a trick there. Don't tell anyone. The next step was hierarchy, and that was to create a sense of order. What's more important, what comes first, and differentiate tasks that user might try to do. Let's say when they want to change a setting or navigate through a video and so on. So in order to do that, we took this player and divided it into 7 different general locations. And we tried to test different designations for plugins or smart containers that I was mentioning before, and also set up this logic to help here as well. So all a user really needs to do is choose the building blocks, and what we did will just automatically group and distribute along the player at once. So this kind of, at this moment, we wanted to see how everything works together. Design was ready. And we wanted to unify it with our user experience efforts. And this is what we got. So this was the revamp player of everything. Just to give you a refreshment, this is what it was. So it's the same functionality, really. Everything is here. All those 30 different things are in here. Let's take a look. For instance, this is a smart container talking about settings. So you can see settings inside. By the way, this was released in our company internally before YouTube. YouTube, heard me? OK. But it's great that they did the same thing. It really means that we're all on the same page. So this is much more spaced out and clear. So at this point, I was a bit more at ease that we've taken these meaningful steps towards usability and ease of use. But I couldn't help thinking how this player would look like in 5 years from today. Are we still scalable enough? So is it possible that our technology will allow so many more options, and I know we're building them as we go, that smart containers will have to change again? And I was starting to think that this is really, the solution had to come from a change in the entire paradigm, really. So it so happened that at the same week, I was invited to come see Meta, if you know the company Meta, augmented reality headset presentation they were doing at Wix a couple months ago. And coming from 3D animation and CG feature film myself, it was natural for me to go and see what they were doing. And at the end of their presentation, I got to try on the headset. So it was really, really cool. What I saw was reality, just like here. And in this reality, I saw just 3D objects floating in space. And I could literally reach, take one, place it somewhere else, drop it, open, and using motion and gesture, it was just so organic and so intuitive. And I immediately thought about video, and how could this experience be somehow brought into video today? So what if this video player would act the same way? It was clear to me that this is where I want to take things to. And also it's a circumstantial must, because we're limited by the X and the Y of the 2D space. So it's very natural that we would want to go Z-depth and try to get more interaction from that space. OK, so let's park the time machine for now and get back to 2015. I was now asking myself, though, how we can take something from this futuristic idea and utilize it to better serve users today. So with any change in paradigm, there is a road to be taken. Small step that train us to slowly move forward and get comfortable as we do. I didn't want to drop anything too big. I also wanted it to get implemented, if you know what I mean. So that's when I decided to make our video player somewhat future-proof by trying to bring some of that future into today. So here's what we thought. We have no dynamic Z-depth available for video just now. But we can mimic this experience to fit with today's available technology anyway. As I mentioned briefly, I'm coming from 3D. So it was a matter of a few simple tricks from my perspective. In order to create a sense of depth, you really need foreground, middle ground, and background. You need some lighting and some shading. And that's what makes it look real, or 3D. So we decided to take this idea and actually test it on one of our plugins in the player. This plugin is called the Viewpoint. And it's a really nice little feature where users can direct their own video experience. They become directors. So imagine you're watching a video, and you have a lecture, and you have a slide deck, and maybe you have other video streams. And users can just manipulate this experience and change views and decide which media they want to watch. And it all happens within the same player at the same time. So this is how it looks like, the icon right there on the top right. So you see the lecturer in this case, and you see a slide. So this is the example I chose. I'm going to show you a movie demoing this. How do I play this? Naturally, like that. OK. So really, the idea was to try and plant those. Is it working? Hold on. No? Maybe it was the. Whoops. No video? Yes, it's working. The mouse is moving. OK. There's two mouses. See that little one? OK. OK, so we wanted to plant this notion, OK? And imagine that the video you're seeing is the reality, and the icons are the surrounding, those 3D objects that I was mentioning before. So once the user makes an initial decision, we wanted the relevant choice to basically come closer and to be intimate enough to encourage more drill down interaction. Okay, so we wanted to bring things forward and to take things backward at the same time. The irrelevant options will sink into the back, as you can see. We use really just simple things, simple tricks, UI tricks, just blurring and gray filtering, making them smaller. But it's really easy to implement. It's just animation, basically. It's just simple animation. But it really gives you this sense of going in and out of the video player. So let's move on from the video. OK. And the rest of the flow was also inspired from augmented reality, the taking and dropping and placing. And this, I think you all know, we have this, drag and drop. That's very common. So it's perfect for this user who wants to select this specific stream to show in this area. So we'll just simply drag and drop it. They'll do it with a tap at this point. But later on, maybe like this. So all in all, I think this new player, or this new revamped player, is a result of a few modifications, all aimed at giving a sense of order, a sense of elegance and usability, and taking that little extra step forward towards the future to slowly change the way we experience video. So what I'm hoping to leave you with today is this exact notion. Look into the future, find your own inspiration from whatever technology that fascinates you, and try to bring the essence of that technology or the concept of the technology. It doesn't have to be the actual technology, but just the idea of it, and try to implement it today to make better products. So I didn't know this when I made the presentation, but tomorrow, right, is October 21st? Yeah. OK, so it's the National Back to the Future Day. And so that's when Doc here aims his time machine. And so tomorrow is the future, you know, literally. It's always true. And it's so true today. And yeah, and I think that we even have hoverboards, right? Or starting to have them. OK, so thank you very much.